G'day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the May 2019 Metal Investor Forum in Vancouver. I'm here with Tim Moody. Tim is the CEO of Pan Global Resources. It's one of the companies I invited to present here. And as I normally do, I try to have these invitations and the presentations coincide with, what's hopefully going to be the start of significant news flow. These are exploration companies, so the news flow is very important. As it happens, Tim was polite enough to put out a news release this morning. One of the targets that really got my interest the most when I started looking at Pan Global and started buying it and talking about it in the newsletter was Tim, who has a significant amount of experience in what's called iron oxide copper gold deposits. He had staked for Pan Global a large IOCG target. It's one that had never been, I don't think, recognized before you came along, because you had the IOCG experience, and this is in Spain, and Tim's experience mostly with the IOCG was in I think Peru and in Australia. Yeah. And things were going swimmingly, and you did a little bit of drilling earlier this year, but the most, the best looking part of the target that's got the hottest looking soil geochem anomalies and really nice looking stuff and outcrop. The landowner suddenly decided, after giving you access, they didn't want to, but as of today, that is resolved.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's great news. It was a real breakthrough, but this is not an unusual situation in the exploration industry. You would have seen it before. 6 out of the 7 farmers we had to deal with, we had no problem, and we've got an excellent relationship in the area. So I'm now really pleased. We've made a real breakthrough. Now hopefully we'll develop a good relationship with on the farm that where this best part of the target is.
Yeah, because it's a great looking target. I mean, it's definitely worth your while to take a look at the map that was in today's Pan Global release or on Pan Global's website, because this is a very hot looking target, and it was quite disappointing when you started the drill program and suddenly couldn't drill the best part of the target. But it's nice to see that's turned around. But in addition to that, you have a couple of licenses, what you call the Escacena project. That's in the Iberian pyrite belt. And if those of you who aren't familiar with it, I mean, people don't think of Spain or Portugal, for that matter, as being mining countries. But the truth of the matter is both of them actually have fairly large mining industries. And I would say the bulk of that mining sector on both sides of the border is probably concentrated largely in the Iberian pyrite belt, which is far and away the world's most famous belt for volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits. This is where the biggest, highest grade ones in the world are. You got your hands on something that's, again, it's a bit surprising that it hasn't been worked over several times, but you have a couple of either extremely lightly explored or unexplored gravity anomalies, and maybe you can speak to how important gravity anomalies are in this belt.
Yeah, well, it is a unique situation. We've got a land position right near some very large, massive sulfide deposits, the Aslan-Collar and Los Frailes deposit, which Group of Mexico are working at the moment, and just down the road is Las Cruces, the Las Cruces project. Now, the significance of gravity anomalies in most of the big VMS deposits that have been discovered in the pyrite belt in the last 30 or 40 years have been found by directly drilling gravity anomalies. Right. Neves Corvo was one of those. Las Cruces, the first drill hole into the peak of a gravity anomaly, hit the ore body. Right. The Los Frailes deposit, which is 5 kilometres down the road from our Escacena property, it was a gravity discovery. Right. So we've got an untested gravity anomaly immediately along strike in the same geology, same structure as the Aslan-Collar and Los Frailes deposits, untested, 1.5 kilometres long, 0.8 milligauss gravity anomaly, with mineralisation coming to surface in the southern flank of this anomaly.
And that anomaly size is pretty, just so you know, that's fairly big for VMS, because VMS are high density deposits, so they tend not to have really big footprints, except some of the stuff in the pyrite belt does, but generally speaking, they're not very large in terms of footprint, so that's the big anomaly. And you just finished doing you just sort of went through it quickly during your presentation, that you just finished a little bit of follow-up geophysics to help kind of discriminate the targets a bit better?
Yeah, it was really almost an orientation survey. So we did 2 traverses or profiles of of gravity and IP over each of the 2 gravity anomalies in the property.
Right.
And what they've done is they've confirmed we've got some strong chargeability high, resistivity low anomalies,
Right.
coincident with the gravity target. So essentially these look like conductors,
Right.
semi-massive or massive sulphide mineralisation potentially, right where we were hoping to see it. So
And
the
I
idea
think
is...
your geophysicist seems to be pretty high in these things, and he's a
Yeah.
pyrite belt guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the group that did the geophysics for us essentially worked in the pyrite belt in just about every major deposit in that province, and he did the interpretation. And in his opinion, certainly that deep resistivity feature, which on one of the sections, it looks like, in his opinion, potential semi-massive or massive sulphide. So we've got to drill it.
Yep.
But it looks pretty promising, and
that's the thing too. I mean, the timeline is pretty nearby here, because I think you're good to go. You've got your
Yep.
you got your permits, you got your access agreements, so you're actually going to start drilling these targets like quite soon.
yeah, that's the plan. Within the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll have the rig rolling onto site, and we'll drill a hole into each of the gravity features, and it'll be a shallow test initially, but that information will be valuable for us to calibrate the geophysics and be able to model the gravity, and we'll use that to design a more comprehensive program, because these are big targets. So the geophysics will be very helpful, and then we've got quite a bit of drilling ahead of us, I hope.
And then once that's done, you'll have an opportunity to go back to this sort of best part of the IOCG target and some of your other stuff. I mean, you've got a lot of target to test here. I mean, this is a stock I started following in the newsletter probably, I don't know, around a year ago, give or take.
Yeah.
And because of access issues and a couple things like that, it's a stock that's probably it's come back in price like a lot of things have. But essentially, I would say the targeting situation and the near-term drill potential is probably as good, if not better, than it was when I actually started following it in the newsletter and bought it a year ago. So you've got the advantage of the last year's experience, and you can get your hands on it even cheaper. I think, when you look at these targets they've got in the pyrite belt, these are the kind of targets where, it's a small drill program, but this target type is one where if Pan Global gets lucky, you can get drill holes in these targets where, you get a drill hole early and that's it, you're off to the races. They have that kind of potential as targets. That's why I started following it. And as Tim said, he's going to start drilling these very soon. So now's the time to be on this and on this story and paying attention. It's Pan Global Resources, PGZ, on the venture. Thank you, Tim, for coming by and coming all the way over from London yesterday to Vancouver to give us this presentation and give us an update.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.